swept up in today's independent music.
Good morning, everybody. In case it's not morning where you're at, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I'm your host, Anthony Longhair Leclair, and I'm joined by my fabulous co-host, the marvelous Marla the Mouse McHardy.
What's up, everybody?
Rob, I just want to teach you theater. McCubbin.
Why do you mock me so?
And
that's easy.
And Andy, well, we may as well grab another drink before the end. Chouinor.
Is it over yet?
Welcome to Swept Up, everyone. Today's feature is a Calgary-based band called Woodhawk. They've got a pretty wicked rockin' sound. Marla, Rob, and I have already heard bits and pieces of this band. Andy has yet to, so I'm very excited for that. So they've...
and his kind, gentle manner with which he addresses all of the performances.
That's right. That's right. So the Woodhawk may be known to some. They released their debut album Beyond the Sun in 2017, and they have just put out their sophomore album Violent Nature, which, as I said before, has got a pretty rockin' feel. This band previously had a bit of a science fiction-y
which we would love
vibe
to hear
to it.
too.
Which we're pretty into. So maybe we'll check out Beyond the Sun at some point. We'll cover their debut album there to appease the masses on that scale. But Violent Nature is a lot more personal, according to the band. They've been through a lot of shit in the past couple of years and dealt with some tragedies, and life is the shit that happens around you when you've made plans. So
Coin it.
What's that?
Said coin that. Oh wait, John Lennon said it.
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe not that
Too
exact
late.
phrasing, but close
Yeah.
enough.
Well, John Lennon also said, "Time wounds all heals." So here we go. So Violent Nature, by title, might suggest it's a bit harder, and so we're gonna just jump right into their single "Weightless Light," and here we go. Weightless Light by Woodhawk, everybody.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Thoughts, comments, queries?
I like it. I like it a lot. That song rocks hard. That song rocks real hard. I'm just sitting here just like head banging. Like it's...
Well, when we were talking about earlier, I actually believe it's the next track that No, it was this one, I think, actually. When we were talking about it earlier, listening to it before you showed up, Andy, we were saying, like, Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Or Stone Temple Pilots idea.
Yeah.
Right? That 90s alternative rocks to Alice in Chains, that kind of shit.
Yeah, it
Like,
has that like
grunge
real,
into the alt-rock stuff. That is
real
just, like,
nice grit to it.
Yeah. Is what I got from that.
Yeah.
Andy, thoughts?
You know, I always feel like I'm this guy. You know, I'm always that guy.
That's why we're happy to have you.
So like the first minute, I was enthusiastic. It felt like, you know, being 18 years old again. You know, in a bar listening to stuff. And then for 3 or 4 minutes, I was bored. I was bored stiff. And then about 4 or 5 minutes in, 4 minutes in, I was excited again. And yeah. But it was like a whole middle section there. I was like, my mind was wandering because I was like, and I'm not sure why.
I have the answer.
Give me the answer.
I mean this in all seriousness. I know exactly what he's talking about. I am not the musician. We know that.
Yeah.
But if I were giving advice to any band coming along right now, I would say we are living in a world where people binge watch television shows. We are living in a world where people make their own music. You do not have to go verse, chorus, bridge, end. The shit at the end is so interesting and so fantastic.
Right.
Why does it have to go at the end of the song? Who decided it had to follow a formula so that at the end of the song it goes to that part? It's such a great bit. Yeah. So do it when I'm not expecting it.
I agree. You know, the first part I was in, if you follow that first bit with that stuff you talked about at the end, somehow I don't know how that would work.
Throw it in when I'm not expecting it. I knew it was coming at the end. I could feel it in the chord progression. I knew we were going to have something different, and that's great. And I really like the song. Like, I really like the song.
But just that middle section.
But there's a part of me that just goes, if it played around more without the formula. Yeah. It would be
it was kind of the same,
even
right?
more impressive.
There were like
song.
3 minutes. It was like exactly the same.
Guy's vocals are great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The sound is good. The drumming is wicked. All the pieces are there. But at one point, as soon as that stuff came in at the end, I was like, "It's a formula."
It caught me back.
Cut the fucking formula.
What do you think, Ant? What do you think?
So my main thing. So I agree. That formula started in like what, the 30s, 40s. I mean that's a thing that's been.
We don't need it anymore.
No, it's true, and I agree, because we can create music at the touch of a fucking button, and we've been able to do that since the 1980s. So I mean that's a formula that should have been done away with 30 fucking years ago, but 40 years ago. But I will say. Well, you've already said it anyway. I mean, the vocals are great. I mean, the music is great.
The music is great.
And they're really interesting. It's just, there is that section, as you say. It builds into this spot where you're just like, oh, like, and I admit, and I feel like an asshole for admitting it, but there was a part where I was like, okay, I need to learn more about this band. So I was looking up, like, the names of I was checking out their page to see their introduction, everything like that. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's the part you were talking about where you were like, I was bored. That's the part you were talking about where you're like, I could have done anything else in that time.
You know, if it was live, you know, you could be watching the guitar, you could be watching the drums. You can sort of stay interested in that way.
But it's not visual.
That's right. So you better be feeding me the entire time, otherwise, like I'll just move on to another song. I mean,
and again, that's so simple to do by looking at those elements. I keep using the word dynamics all night. Looking at those elements and then going, you know what? That's a good bit. It doesn't have to go at the end. Or it can go twice.
Yeah.
Sucker you in,
you know,
change it up.
Yeah.
You know, like so then you're like, what the hell's going on here? Like you're at least sitting here wondering what's going on, and that's interesting. As opposed to, you know, well, I'm going to my phone. I'm going to check my, whatever.
Yeah, I will say they suckered me in for sure. I mean that at the start, because it's just the guitar first, like dan dan ban and it, like after the whatever, and then the second time they do the dan, it's the bass kicks in on that, and I was like, oh, because it's such a deep like,
I love the lyrics too because I can hear
Yeah.
them. I can understand
Yes.
them. And,
For a change with a lot of music,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Like
the
that-
mix is good this time. And,
Yeah, one thing, and I was thinking about that too. Like, one thing I thought that was really interesting, and I love the choice that they made here, was the acoustic guitar in the chorus.
Yeah.
In that background. It's just that little subtlety, but oh my god, does that make a difference. Like, to me, I was like, oh, that adds just like an extra little to the chorus.
And it's
there.
what it does is it separates, because I noticed that too. That's where, and then his vocals come out this way. So there's like this expanse of sound, right? And it sounds so...
Is it possible? I don't know how your thing works to pay like the first 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I can just do that right now. I mean, that's fine.
Just the first 20 seconds, just to get that starting, just
Yeah.
to see, because I know it suckered me in at the beginning, so I just want to hear that part.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, when you said if you were... I mean, because it just kicks in. It's beautiful that way. But when you said the idea of watching it live, you know you'd be banging your head. You know it because you would be watching the drummer. You could be watching his foot go.
You can
on
feel the
kick drum.
intensity because you're watching the
Yeah.
intensity. Right?
But you can't get that from a recording. So instead, what you need to do is start. You gotta. I know I said that I was being silly when I said it before, but this is the age of Netflix. You got to Netflix. You got to Amazon Prime the music, man. And I don't mean the style. I'm talking about. You got to understand that people are going to switch the channel unless... It's like you always talk about when you talk about network TV. This is network TV. Don't make it network TV.
Yeah. You don't have to, right? You
Make
don't
this
have
something else. You don't anymore.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can do.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to this and I'm thinking about when I said the ending, which I love.
Yeah.
But after listening to that latest Tool album, it does those things that I'm talking about. It has 2 guitar solos. It has, it's got different elements where you go, I don't know what's coming next.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree to a point. I'm also going to defend the band a bit, simply because. So this whole idea of like, we got Amazon Prime, we got Hulu, we got Crave, we've got Netflix, we got all these things, right? And everyone's like, I'm gonna get that thing, and if I don't get that thing, fuck it, I'm gonna go to the next thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm also kind of a hater of that idea. So idealistically,
Really, I would never.
And that
guess,
makes
but-
sense too.
Yeah.
But
so idealistically,
I'm kind of with you on that.
Yeah,
There's
so
a reality to
yeah,
it,
exactly. So,
unfortunately.
right. So that's the thing, right? So idealistically, I'm thinking, well, fuck that. Do what you want to do. Do it the way you want to do it. If it's it's tried and true, and you like the dynamic of, we're gonna use dynamic all fucking night on this one. But
The formula.
But if you're using that formula and it works for you and you enjoy it, and that's the music that makes you feel good, especially considering that this album is like their first deviation from all that science fiction shit. This is all their personal baggage that they're pushing out on it. Then personally, as a musician, just from musician perspective, is like, just fucking do that then.
Right.
Just do the thing that works for you.
Yeah, no,
because
I'm-
people will like it or they won't. But on the opposite side of that, I get what you're saying, where it's just like, like you should do what you want to do because fuck anyone else and what they think. But at the same time, as you're saying, there are all these things that we can have at the touch of a button, at the snap of a finger, and we can have something else in an instant. So why do we want to bother, right? So it's you have to have that hook. You have to have something that, it's not just the hook that gets you in. You're like, oh, this is a sweet song. And then you're like, oh, okay, it's just this. And then, oh my God, there's this
now
new
it's The Walking
dynamic. There's this
Dead
new
episode or season 6.
thing. Oh, fuck, and then you're bored as shit.
Yeah.
Right. You know what it reminds me of? It just kind of makes you think of. I remember, sitting in my friend Al's basement, and his brother Glenn had this nice stereo system, and we were listening to all these new albums we never heard of before. But we had to listen to the whole song. Like we didn't before he made judgments because that was just the way it was.
Right,
Play the whole song. Now. If you don't have me in the first 15 seconds, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's next. What's next?
Well, that's fine, and you can do that, and that's fine.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm
no,
just
no,
saying
I don't.
that's-
I agree that I think. Well, sorry, I don't know if that's what you feel, but I feel it's not a good thing. But also, I mean, you're here in this room, and I'm forcing you to listen to the whole song. So, I mean, that's a thing. So, whether or not you like it by the end,
that wasn't so bad with this song. I didn't mind
No.
listening to the whole
well,
song.
because you enjoyed the end of it as well, right? So it was good that we came full circle because you're like, oh, that thing. It's just a wish in the middle of that. And Marla, you had something that you wanted to say 5 minutes ago. What's up?
I don't even remember what it was anymore.
I had a feeling that
Well,
would
you
be the
agree-
case.
But you agree
Yeah.
with him.
No, I was just. I guess I was gonna say I was sort of agreeing where you were coming with in, like,
The idealism of
in the defense of the band, like absolutely, and
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't
glad.
remember
I'm glad
what
you
else I
defended
was
the
gonna
band.
say.
I'm glad you defended the band because
Yeah.
I mean it's worthy of defense. I'm happy that we got to listen to the whole thing.
yeah. And
Yeah.
the other thing too, like I guess like the point you were making with like everybody's attention span, and it's like it comes. We're absolutely living in an age where like everybody has such a short attention span, like for things. Like it's like nobody wants to sit down and listen to a whole fucking album. Like
Right.
not a lot of people
No,
do that
you
anymore.
gotta
It's like
grab a
you sit
single.
and you listen to the singles. You put your iPod on shuffle. You do this, you do that, and it's like it. Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about like even if even if I'm not crazy about the first 15 seconds of a song, even if it doesn't suck me in completely in the first 15 seconds, I will listen to that whole song.
You're an old soul.
I guess that makes me
Yeah,
different.
you're quoting Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
But
Like
here's
other people are not doing that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The interesting thing about that is,
Yeah.
so, and this is me telling off every other fucking listener out there who's just like, oh, I'm just going to put on shuffle, or, oh, 15 seconds I'm not in, 5 seconds I'm not in, fuck this song, I'll go to the next one. So, Marla, like, you are one of the most ADD fucking people I know.
Absolutely.
And you will sit and listen to a whole album fully focused on that thing.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, unfucking real, considering how you are functioning in life.
Oh yeah, and you're not wrong. You're absolutely.
I know
not
I'm not.
wrong
That's why I'm
about
saying
that,
this.
yeah.
This is why I'm saying. So everyone out there who's listening to this, if you're not into a song in the first 15, 20, 30 seconds, keep listening to the whole song. There's someone here.
Listen to it 2 or 3 times.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, listen to it a few times. There was a time where, like, you'd have to go out of your way to lift the arm of a fucking record player, pull it back, or pull it forward to go back to a song you want to listen to. If you hit part of a song, you're like, I don't really like this, and you have to go through. Or on a cassette tape where you'd have to rewind or fast forward to whatever track you wanted
Or
to hear.
worse than that, on the 8-track.
8-track.
On the
Wait,
intro,
You had to go
You had
through
to
all
push
these,
the
and then you
button.
had to actually listen to 2 or 3 songs
Yes, before you even hit it.
Push
Yeah,
the button
fair
again
enough.
to try and find it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but I want to, because I agree. I think maybe I was misinterpreted with the whole Amazon Prime thing and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, maybe.
Because what I was really getting at was just the idea of the difference between network TV and what is on those channels. And I'm not talking so much about switching channels as I'm talking more about the idea of it's not a formula. It doesn't sit in that.
Yeah, you never know what's coming.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
know what? When you binge watch a show now, for example, it doesn't end. First of all, the one thing we know for a fact when you binge watch a show in the modern day world, when good shows anyway, the problem is not solved in an hour.
I'm glad you prefaced good shows, because I was going to say, I've
Yeah.
seen so many that are absolutely formulaic
Right.
on Netflix.
I like when,
there
you know,
are-
when the main character's dead in the first episode. You're
Yeah.
like, what could possibly happen
In the
now?
And then they travel time, and
When
you're
you-
like,
in
oh,
the beginning with something like Game of Thrones, right? There isn't a formula there. In the beginning,
Right. It's all over. It's all over the place.
yeah.
If you're watching Game of Thrones and you haven't read the books, it's absolutely not formulaic. And
Yeah,
even then, it does deviate from the books.
I find
But, like-
the books are almost more formulaic because it just goes like, here's Bran and the Bran, and then here's the next guy.
Yeah.
Right. It's not jumping all over the place like
I can
like the
take
series are.
the slow burn. And I don't mean Game of Thrones. I can take the slow burn of the music, and I can allow myself that opportunity to like you talked about the stress music idea.
Well, that's why I like Super City so much.
I can let it
Yeah.
hang there. But in this case, it's just one of those things where I get it. I understand why people do the formula, because there is a tried and true tradition with it.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a part of me that goes, why do we keep making network TV when we don't have to?
Yeah. Who wants to watch Gotham? Like Gotham is so crappy. Like, there's a great.
Sorry, Gotham is sponsored by Gibson.
No, it's not.
Like Gotham had, it could be good, but it's network TV and it's slow. It's like watching. You ever see that Once Upon a Time? There was that.
You know what?
I'm
Who were we
about?
talking to recently who was watching the shit out of that? Is it Zach?
I think it was, yeah.
Hilarious.
It was
Yeah.
the same thing. It was just like for God's sakes, will you get on with it? It's like
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
like for weeks at a time. It's like watching The Edge of Night in the 1960s.
Wow.
And now the man has dated himself.
I'm 32 years old.
So the thing, yeah, I'm not even there yet.
My PBR Edge of Night.
The interesting thing about that is, so like when I write music, and Marla, you'll be able to comment on your own when you write. Well, I don't know if you've written music, Andy, but I mean, so I know Rob has, and I know you play.
Yeah.
So, but at least when I write a song, oftentimes there have been many songs that are many verses, and that might be the Dylan influence in me, but it tells a whole story. And it may very well be formulaic, but I always find myself ending on a different chord than people expect, or changing timing in one thing that people don't expect. And I don't necessarily think about it. I'm just like, this is a thing that I like because it speaks to the song, as opposed to me being like, well, this is what people need to hear. Like, I don't give a fuck what people want to hear.
exactly.
And so like this is why I get
I don't-
like on there. And sorry, I'll let you. I'm sorry. I just need to get this one thing out. It's like I get this whole idea of like, well, we're gonna do this song. Like, I don't know their thoughts or feelings, right? Obviously, but it's like, here's the song. Here it is. Enjoy it or don't. Right? That's the way it is. So maybe there's a middle part that we don't enjoy, or that you guys don't enjoy, or whatever, or not as much as the beginning and the end, because the beginning and the end are way
I don't know
more
how many
powerful.
guys are in this band, but there's going to be one guy.
Three.
Or two.
Three people.
Okay,
This is a trio, and it's
great.
kick-ass.
It
It's
is. It's
amazing.
excellent.
Yeah.
But one of the guys, guaranteed one of those guys, isn't necessarily as big on the way this went.
Right.
Just a law of averages says somebody said, well, why don't we do this earlier?
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Well, yeah, and that's the way that builds. But I mean, like, just from the musician perspective, from the songwriter perspective, all I think about, and it's this. I think this is why I'm so forgiving in a lot of cases with musicians. Like, I mean, I don't need to be forgiving with Woodhawk because I actually think they're fantastic.
Yeah,
but,
it's really great.
But
You got to change the name though.
No, you don't have to change the name.
but in cases where
I thought you did.
But in cases where I may be more forgiving than others, it's because it's my defense of the idea of you're writing the song as you want, and that's what you wanted. Like, if you're putting that out, unless you have like heavy producer background from someone else,
Right.
it's the way you
Some
wanted
manager
it.
says, we don't like this, it's too heavy. Or,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you're putting out independent music, it's the way you wanted it, and it's the way you wanted it to sound when you put it out. And if it isn't, then why'd you put it out? And
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But on my end, I never write a song thinking about what everyone else wants to hear.
No.
I write a song based on how I feel and how I want the song to hear, or just whatever comes, and I'm like,
Right, that makes sense.
yeah, I like that. You know?
Yeah, I know, and I absolutely agree with you on that one. It's like when I'm writing, I don't give a shit about what anybody else is going to think about the song. It's
And
like,
I feel exactly the same. When I'm criticizing, I don't give a shit about what people think.
Yeah. Touche. And we should have seen that one coming.
yeah.
But you know, like State of Grace, for example, right? Like that's a
I love
pretty,
that song.
which I know you do. That's why I bring it up. But I mean, that it's a fairly formulaic song in terms of here's verse, here's chorus, here's verse, here's chorus, and there is the outro.
Maybe the difference is with your song, like State of Grace, because, like you said, there's the Dylan-esque kind of lyricism to it. Because it tells a story, it doesn't feel like it is just verse, chorus, bridge, repeat till fade.
Well, because you have a vested interest in the story.
Yeah, but
you're listening to the story.
That and also I'm a friend of yours. I mean,
No. Even that, but the other element of it is, I'm not looking at it structurally, like on a page.
Yeah.
But the typical formula is 4 lines or 6 lines, 4 lines or 6 lines, 2 lines leading into a chorus. That's not State of Grace.
That's true.
And that's the difference. You could have like 14. You could have like a sonnet that then moves into a 6. So that is the difference. There's the formula disappears because the meter and the actual structure of it is changed.
Because it's not just stuck in the 4/4.
It's not
completely
just 4/4
bound
time.
to
Yeah, right.
with however many bars
Exactly.
per lines, and okay.
Yeah, that is the difference.
Well, fair enough. So I mean, So yes, I agree with that, and that's fantastic. And here we are, still doing all this, but we still have another song to dig into.
We
by
really
Woodhawk.
like that song, by the way.
Yes, I am a huge fan of that song. Weightless Light is their latest single off of their album, and I like Violent Nature, the album, by the way. So we're gonna dig into what is track number 5 off of Violent Nature, called Old Silence. So check this out.
I've been out of my time.
fucking good.
That's awesome.
That's all
That
it ever
was-
was. Yeah. Yeah, that was really good. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fucking.
That was really good.
This
Oh man.
Yeah, so I think this is my new favorite song by Woodhawk. This is awesome. So, because we were talking about how many changes there were in the previous song, right? Like the opening and the close of the previous song was just like, yeah, those are awesome. Like if only the middle was filled with something like that. And this had like 8 or 9 different changes. Like even the chorus is a time change from the rest of like the verse and the pre-chorus. And then in and amongst the rest of the song, there were
All
drum
sorts of
fills
little
that
bits. Yeah, the
changed
drum fills
everything.
were wicked.
There's an instrument pull right before that fucking hammering of the last chorus.
Yeah,
also,
it was
yeah,
so
and the
good.
vocalist-
It's so good.
Yeah, so like Turner comes in with the final vocals on that, and it's just like, oh yeah,
That was fucking dirty. That was
yeah,
great.
man.
Now I'd go home, I'd cash in my 7 cases of 50 to pay for a band. I'd go see these guys.
Yeah,
Like because I can't say that because I don't feel that way very often. But I would go see these guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you were making a comment about the last couple episodes that we'd recorded, and you were saying based on the production quality, if you recall.
Oh, the production of this is way better than some of the other stuff. Yeah.
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 This is what you buy, and it's like you don't take this to a producer and say, is there anything you can fix about this? This is the one that you engineer differently. But this album is complete.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
it's full. Like you've used that word a couple of times. There's a fullness. to
Yeah,
it.
exactly, and
Yeah.
like 'cause everything is brought out, and there's so there was the part where
Kick-ass vocals, by the way.
fuck yeah, so
Oh,
turn
man.
on.
I clearly love what you have to say because we can
Holy
hear
shit.
Yeah.
every
I love-
word you say.
Yeah.
So good.
I was listening to the lyrics, and it's like
Yeah.
you can really just like you can hear the anger in the vocals of this because it's just like this. Like lyrically, the song is just like, oh, you destroyed everything, like layaways, like fuck you, like you can really hear that in the song, and I like that.
Yeah, and there's a thing that reminds me of that alt rock, like that Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots kind of thing, like the Chris Cornell, Scott Weiland thing. It also at a certain point in the song, with that, like especially in that break where the instrumentation pulled, it reminded me of One in the Chamber, which is a Toronto-based band that Marla and I fucking love.
Yeah, that was the
love
first
One in the
podcast I
Chamber,
ever listened to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're a great band.
They're a solid band.
We were listening to them on our way out to Creemore at the start of the weekend.
Yeah,
and,
10 out of 10 would wear their t-shirt.
As a fan of your
yeah,
music,
if they send them
Woodhawk,
to us.
as a fan of your music, I just went on Spotify and I can only find
Beyond the Sun.
Weightless Light and Beyond the Sun. I can't find this album. When's this album coming out?
Yeah, good question.
Let's double check to make sure this album is.
Because I will definitely be Spotifying this sucker.
The Trio now returns in 2019 with their follow-up and sophomore album, Violent Nature. Well, where's the release?
So
on
the
this fucking
single
thing?
is listed on Spotify.
The single is out. It doesn't give a release date, so it could very well be this hasn't been released yet, and we're just dropping a whole lot of their tracks. But
it's good shit.
it's amazing. If nothing else, this will drive people to buy the fucking thing because.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna listen to the shit out of this.
Also, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say one thing I really enjoyed, and I was mentioning this when we were listening to it, is there's that like guitar. There's that guitar break, where, like, I was saying to Anthony, I was like, man, like the I was like, it's like almost like pirate metal. Like if you added a fiddle into that or like an accordion, it's like, oh man, it's like it's almost like it's like that like pirate metal sort of vein. I love that.
Electric
It's
violin
like very
or something like that. Yeah,
it's like very almost Celtic sounding.
Is it the Flogging Mollies that has that yeah, that's what that reminded me of.
No,
Yeah.
is that it's like either Flogging Molly or the Dropkick Murphys.
Dropkick Murphys,
It's the
maybe.
Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah.
It's like shipping up to Boston. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm glad
Yeah.
they didn't go there because
Exactly. Well, yeah, it's a different
a
direction.
prairies-based band with that sound. I don't know. It just kind of ruins it for me because there's a lot of that kind of stuff around.
Yeah.
Like, you-
Well, Spirit of the West is from.
I knew you were
Prairies,
gonna-
and they do Celtic.
First thought that hit my
No,
mind.
I was like, Spirit of the West is from.
But yeah, no, but I am glad they didn't go there. It's their own sound on that, like it's reminiscent of.
Oh, yeah, it
we hear
is.
that
It's like-
that influence maybe, or that inadvertent play on it. But it's
you would have lost
their
me
own
on
thing.
it. If you would have done that, it would have ruined it for me.
Yeah.
And would have been because it's going back to that
The formula.
Yeah, formula stuff. That's people.
Yeah.
You know that people are due now in terms of like the East Coast stuff or Irish stuff, and it's the influences of that. But everything can't be that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I
These
disagree
guys-
a little bit on that, but
Yeah.
that's just because of my love of Celtic music, because my Scottish heritage. But you know,
That would make
These,
sense.
unlike the previous track, which I did like, but this track is just so dimensional. There's so many interesting elements to this track.
Yeah.
ABBA.
Yeah, there's yeah, like again, I said there were however many changes during the song. I counted 8 or 9 or something
and
like.
really interesting moments like that when the kick drum
I know,
stopped out
and-
for a second and then
And the tom drop into
Yeah.
the next bit, and it was,
so
yeah.
interesting.
And just in general about Woodhawk, I just because with the EPK that I got, there's a whole bunch of talking points and quick facts and story angles in case I felt the need to actually bring any of this shit up. Like I absolutely don't need to because I just have their music and that should be enough to fucking talk about. But there is one that's interesting only because we happen to live in North Bay. So I'll just read it verbatim. So that's their second talking point / quick facts / story angle. Last time we were touring Canada, we hit a big snowstorm leaving Toronto en route to Thunder Bay. There was an accident just around Sudbury that closed the highway. As we were slowing down, getting closer to traffic, we were going up a hill, suddenly stopped going up, and just started fishtailing backward down the hill. Slowly navigating would have been a terrible collision. We got towed up the hill and managed to do a 14-hour bypass through where?
North Bay.
Hey!
Through North Bay, driving all day and night to make the gig. Midway through the drive, the heater in our van went. It was the coldest and miserable we could have been.
welcome to Canada.
Well, they're from Calgary.
And it's fucking, it can be fucking cold in Calgary.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's true.
But then you get the Chinook wind and all the snow goes away and you're like,
Yeah.
we
to
don't get
Ontario.
that.
It
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, we don't get that North Bay. We
Come
just
and play here again.
Yeah, you know what? So so they were on their way to Thunder Bay, not to North. They haven't
That's
played North
right.
Bay.
Yeah, that's right.
But hit us up. I'll see if we can get you a spot. Try and book at the Capitol Center or something.
Yeah.
If nothing else, and I've been thinking about doing this is because Le Compagnon is selling. I don't know if you know this.
Oh, is that right?
Apparently, which sucks because it's a sweet venue. But I don't know what the new people are thinking of doing it. Hopefully, they keep it as an event space the way it does. But I was thinking, because I've had several bands be like, hey, like, if you know a place in North Bay, like, I wanted, like, we're on tour, it would be sweet to come through there. Like, other than the bars, man, and I wouldn't recommend you playing in any of those places. But Les Compagnons got a decent setup. If they have their own gear to play there, there's a bar there, and then a whole venue you could fit, like,
Top
200
of home
people
hardware.
What about kicking all the old people out across the street?
into. Just play
Play
there at
the
Empire.
Yeah,
That's
just
real.
play
The
there,
Empire
just-
was the place. Like
Yeah,
that was
the
the
Empire
place.
had so many rooms.
Yeah.
Like there was one room.
Gigantic
just a
room.
bar.
That was the best. The best bars were right there.
Yeah.
Really?
No, yeah. So
Yuck
Really?
Yucks was,
Like,
in, Yuck Yucks was in one.
30-foot ceilings.
There's a
Right
Yuck Yucks here?
Oh, yeah, Yuck Yucks
Get
was
the
there.
fuck out.
Yeah.
There's a Yuck Yucks in North Bay.
across the street from your house.
What happened to this city, man?
Man, this
Like,
city's really
I already,
got shit.
like, only in the past 10 years that I've
Got
been
old.
around here, like, the nightlife has gone to shit. I didn't realize the nightlife had gone to shit even
Long
before
before.
that.
The lobby
Oh my
area
goodness.
over there.
Yeah.
If
Where the grand piano and all that stuff is.
extend past that,
Yeah.
that was a bar.
Yeah, it had 30-foot ceilings with moldings, like big molding pillars and stuff. And then you had bands in there, Yuck Yucks.
What?
It was like a lot. And I used to go to a lot of punk stuff back there.
What happened, North Bay? What the fuck happened?
I got old.
You fishtail, North Bay. You fishtail.
Vic Fideli, we're talking to you.
Yeah.
Anthony Rhoda, we're talking to you. Sort
God
jar
damn it.
shit out.
Somebody, we're talking to somebody.
Some politician somewhere putting flower pots in the fucking road to make things better. God damn it, we need another bar, we need some nightlife, and we need to get a shelter for the homeless people. Like, fucking
Or-
deal
yeah.
with
It
it.
could be
Don't
the
need
music.
flower pots
Maybe the
for
music
drunk
sucks.
people to
Maybe that's
throw
what
up
it is.
in.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm a shit musician and everyone else around me too is garbage, and that's the problem. But I have a feeling.
I think that's it.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
No,
Well,
no, wait a second. But without criticizing any, like naming any specific places, the reality of it is, we did used to have bands,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden we have these venues that say, well, you can bring your amp and your guitar, and that's it. Like I saw the Crash Test Dummies here. I saw Sarah McLachlan.
April
I
Wine
saw.
here.
Look, I know the bar you're talking about.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not mentioning it.
No, I know, and I won't either because I play there, so I'm obviously not
Yeah.
going to say. But so I agree, and I think it's ridiculous. And then there's another bar that I play at, which I've plugged both on the daily sweeps at one point or another. But another bar that I play at will book bands. However, they play in essentially a cubicle, and anytime there's a drum kit, it destroys the sound completely.
Right.
Because the bar isn't built for live music. Whereas the other bar, maybe it's not built for live music, but it fits way better to have a band. And they've had bands historically there for decades under whatever names that bar was under.
So if you're
even the
listening,
current
Gibsons,
name.
we not only want a sponsorship for the show, but we'll take all sorts of money, and we'll have a bar that sells only Gibsons, and we'll play music.
You know it. And I just want to say, if ever you're in the need to calm your nerves after stressing out about how people just won't book good bands anymore in town and you just want to sit at a bar and have a good time and have a good drink, well, you can just go to your local Lickbo and magic, you can get Gibson's finest rare whiskey.
Which is currently on sale with it's $2 off, $4 off for different bottles.
$2 or $4 off, depending on the bottles you get. Check out Gibson's finest Sterling whiskey, which I
Sterling
believe is
whiskey,
their
8-year and 12.
and 12, which I believe is their fall promotion.
Yeah.
A little bit of an apple kick in there and some spice and citrus. So dig into that.
Ooh.
Is that tonight's show?
That's it. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all we got. Yeah.
Okay, that was a kick-ass track. That track kicked out. Can we listen to that loud and proud?
Right now?
I want to hear that track.
Fuck yeah, let's
Are
go.
we signing off now?
Well, what are we going to do other than promoting Gibson to get it? By the way, in a row today, they liked all three of the last posts I made.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We love you, Gibson.
Yeah.
I was gonna say talking
Who liked
about
your
the
post?
band and then
Gibson's finest rare whiskey
yeah.
liked our posts on Facebook.
Nice.
thank you, Gibsons.
Yeah, no kidding. That's nice. It's so sweet of you.
Just like your whiskey.
We like your drink.
Yeah, that's good. That's great stuff.
So it makes sense to like our posts. Sorry, shall we sign off? This from Anthony Longhair Leclair, Marla the Mouse McHardy. I'm sorry. Anthony Longhair Leclair, the marvelous Marla the Mouse McHardy.
Marvelous. No kidding.
Right? Of course. Rob, why do you mock me so in my theater, McCubbin? And Andy, fuck yeah, I listen to ABBA.
Yeah. So what do you want to say about it? Hey, buenas noches.
I just want to
Go
know.
listen to Woodhawk, everybody.
Woodhawk!
Woodhawk!
Download all their stuff. Links will be below.
1, 2, 3. Woodhawk!
Swept Media. Get swept up in today's independent music.
Which is entitled, let's actually get the full fucking thing up here. I'm definitely going to cut this bit while I find what the fuck. Here we go. So
Hey guys! Hey, welcome to YouTube.
oh hey
We're
guys.
professionals.
Thanks for coming back. So today we're gonna be talking about some music, and so anyway,